When we decided to make this series, one of the things we wanted to do more than anything else was have another Skeksis banquet. So here we have a scene where every Skeksis has a moment and we get to see their full personalities and power dynamics amongst the Skeksis because they don't like each other. They're all clear here in this scene.
Yeah, what's really interesting about this scene is setting it up is that you get to see their personalities. We did a lot of work to try and make sure that that really stood out, but also put the scene together, working with everyone to make sure that we had creatures moving on the tables and just everything was alive. That was the whole, visual point of this. And I think, Louis, you talked a lot about that, was the fact that you wanted everything to be moving as much as possible.
In every one of our sets, there were puppeteers hiding everywhere, moving everything. And this was an actual very complicated set because they were staying in place. So you have to understand that it takes 3 to 4 people to puppeteer each Skeksis. And then on top of that, you add the food that's in the table. So there was an army of puppeteers and handlers underneath the stage and moving and doing all that stuff. And it was brilliant. So it was like, for a scene that lasts 5 to 7 minutes, it was weeks of work.
We had fake food and real food and slime and hand puppets and animatronic creatures across the table, and it started to smell by the end. It was gross, but it was great. It was really cool.
I remember you guys in the shop made new dead versions of some of the characters we had seen, like the little characters that were very cute in the background of other scenes. You guys made, yucky dead versions of them for the banquet table.
Yeah, we took castings of anything we could, of bits of Landstrider and Nurlock and all these different creatures. It was great. It was really fun to try and create moving food.
It is so hard to puppeteer a banquet because the puppeteers, many of them cannot aim. So when they grab the food, they have a tendency to miss their mouth, and obviously you guys had to rig stuff for them to swallow. That was actually very complex.
Once the machine is ready, we should drain every last Gelfling across the floor!
The banquet scene just shows off those incredible costumes on the Skeksis. It's amazing how complicated they are. Everything from those sculpted carapaces on the back to the hand-dyed and embroidered and painted fabrics. You just can't believe it.
We went back to the basic idea that it was a stage play. And that's where the costume design that Brian did really came into its own. And we were able to see all the different materials and see all the different layers and textures moving, and all in one.
It was never a final product. Toby, you were always enhancing and changing and also repairing these puppets, because they were getting cuts and nicks and dirt and all that stuff. And just the preparation and the repair is as impressive as the shoot itself.
That's the biggest challenge, was actually making sure that we could maintain them. A Skeksis had at least 34 different fabrics in it. They had to feel nice and light and flow and move. So, we picked the fabrics carefully. We used a lot of silk, very, very lightweight materials, even though they had to feel heavy. We also had to be able to take them apart. So every single costume came apart so we could maintain them. There was a lot of thought that went into the costumes, not only to the look and feel, but the functionality of these things.
I loved visiting the costume shop when you were making the costumes, and each character did have a sort of a key color which would help us distinguish them, but the way that Brian would want the Froud water color effect over that red or over that yellow or over that green to kind of create a very beautiful unified palette.
And that's what Brian and I did a lot of, trying to make sure that they felt lived in, that they felt as old as you saw them to be, as well as still standing out, as still standing as their own characters and not blending too much into everything around them. That was always a challenge.
You talk too much. Talk.
There's also some really good Skeksis tongues in this scene. Louis, that was one of your innovations you brought to the series, was to give them beautiful, crazy tongues.
Yes, that's an addition that's done in post-production because we wanted to give tremendous personality to these Skeksis, so we added digital tongues to some of the Skeksis, not all of them, and it really adds a little something. So you don't know what's real and what's not, and it just helps a lot. So that's the beauty of Dark Crystal: Edge of Resistance, is that we took an ancient art and brought it forward to this technology, but also truly respecting the art of puppetry, never breaking it, never going beyond what could be done with the puppet. So we took the best of the puppets and we took the best of digital technology and mixed them together to create really an emotional story. And that's the Age of Resistance.
My lords, as our Emperor's new council, I will capture this realm and ensure the essence flows once more! Yes!